What up, fellas? What up? What up? What up?
What's up,
I got
AP?
something. I got something to say. You got something to say. We all got something to say. Welcome to Vocal Visions Podcast and Something to Say Podcast. I am Kev C, but I got another Kevin on the other side though.
I am
Introduce yourself,
KJ.
brother.
I am Mr. Humble Beginnings. That's who I am.
I am Deuce 47, the artist CEO. If you didn't know, now you know all day, every day.
All day, every day, 24/7.
365, and I can't be denied. Let's keep it moving.
Yeah, man. How was y'all day, man? How was y'all day?
Today was a good day. Doing a lot of stuff in the community. You know what I mean? Was talking to the kids Friday. Great out there at Morris College in South Carolina at the HB, one of the black colleges. So we're talking to the kids coming up in school. That was a great thing. You know what I mean? They called me back today and invite me to a banquet, man. So local business represent well, man. They want us to come back and keep spreading our information and knowledge with the community and the rising youth. So
what you talked to them about?
Oh, we're talking about financial education.
Okay.
Talking about real money between fiat money, budgeting, you know what I mean? Talking about transferring money and stuff like that. Stuff that kids need to know. A lot of good things came from that opportunity. Also, what came from that opportunity is make sure y'all go to the y'all need to contact us or y'all need to give us any information. Make sure y'all go to y'all hit us up at vokalvizions@gmail.com. That is vokalvizions@gmail.com. Reason y'all need to hit that up if y'all know kids who's in the science and technologies, forensic sciences. We might have some scholarships down here in South Carolina for Morris colleges, full rides that I'm plugged into with the professors over those divisions. And we got some slots that's open. They're willing to catch free rides to get into sciences and get education. You know what I mean? So if y'all want to know more about that and get a free scholarship for college, full ride, then make sure y'all email us at vokalvizions@gmail.com and reach out to Deuce 47, KFC, KJ. We all link up and we get the information for you. You know what I mean? Like cybersecurity, big. Why not? Hey, if y'all in the crypto world, you get into cybersecurity, jobs right there starting off at about, depends on your area, depends on what you're doing. But you 50 at the bottom, but most of the jobs starting between 80 to 100K. So if you want to get your free education and get into a job like that, you're youth and you're looking for new technology to come in the future, holler at me. South Carolina Morris College got something to offer for you. And we see if we can get you a full ride and see if we can get into the qualification of the program and walk you on through it. We make things happen for the community. We are here. We are here to help the youth rise.
That's a great opportunity, man. And Kev, what you got going on with the kids lately, man? Because you in the dojo. What's going on with the kids?
Oh man, we're still keeping them focused, man. I know the kids are out for their summer break, so we don't want to let them drift too far from that's supposed to be there. So still keeping them focused, man. Keeping them working. Make sure the structure stay there. We don't want them to go back to school and then they lost and can't get back right.
Yeah. Both of y'all been busy, man. Both of y'all been busy. Both of y'all been having y'all conversations. You had Battle of the Sexes dudes last week.
Yeah.
And Kev had his own Battle of the Sexes last night. His was more of a battle. His was more of a battle than anything else. So yeah. So how was that, man? How was that for y'all?
Oh man, I mean, it was interesting. I mean, it was an entertainment. It actually motivated me on a couple things too. It kind of helped steer me in a certain direction.
Well, we're gonna have to definitely talk about that inside the CEO meeting. Because it'll sound like you got some teachings that can be spread to us You know, it means if it applies, we bring it back to the community. You know, 'cause we bring the network and whatever helps out the network. Then don't, especially if you're a visionary trying to build a network, you're part of the vocal business team. The things that us as CEOs talk about in the background, we don't hold it. We just make sure the information is correct before we present it, because we don't want to take away too much and we don't want to give too little. You know what I mean?
Exactly, man. So what's the first topic, man? First topic, I think I want to get into this video so we can react to it,
Yeah.
but I kind of want to preface it because I came across this video a long time ago. It's been around for a little minute. It was causing a little bit of conversation and controversy. But I saw a video the other night with this young lady who was talking about submission, and that seemed to be a hot topic right about now. So I wanted to ask, because she brought up different nationalities, different cultures, different races of people, different races of men. And her whole bold statement was really other races of men have no problems from their women as far as leaders, as far as being leaders in their communities, in their race, in their culture, whatever. Women have no problem submitting to them, this, that, and the third. So she equated that to other races being better leaders. So I wanted to ask y'all, are black men good leaders?
KJ, take that first, KJ.
Are black men great leaders? I don't know. And I'm going to say I don't know because we never really had the opportunity to be able to just lead, especially over here within America. There's too many things that we got to live by that have their hands in our lives as well as our families and everything else like that. So when I hear someone talk about other cultures and things of that nature, if we talk about a lot of places from around the world, they're not as heavily, people aren't as heavily, they don't have the freedom, actually. They don't have the freedom to do a lot of the things that our women over here have the ability to do. And just like from my last night's show, I was saying one of the reasons why these women carry a level of being unruly is because they have no reason to actually listen to us or need us anyway. We done made the world to the point where they have all the resources they need without having us directly. So why would they listen to us? Why would they care? So it's kind of hard to say that we're not, because I don't think we have actually ever had the real opportunity to do it on a certain scale. But I mean, that's just my thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
I see it a little different. Kind of like the reference of this is what happened. It is a good reference that I heard somebody else said too. It's like we the leaders of the team. Let's say it's a football team. And you know the quarterback's the leader. Whoever the quarterback really saying going on with the team is, you know, he leading the team. That's how I go. Instead, the rest of the players say, you know what? I don't want you as a leader no more. Now, even though we the leader of the team, if the whole team was against us, we ain't gonna lead that team regardless, right? Ain't no way a quarterback can lead a team that ain't want him to lead. So then he don't lead no more. But then the team realized they can't win without the quarterback. And what we're starting to see is the team having some individual practices, certain successes, but they ain't getting no championship. So it's like they need us to lead. That's our role. You can't take the quarterback off the team and think you're gonna win the championship. Or don't. I think that position is not important, right? The importance of that position. And then you say, well, we don't need a quarterback. And then you start siphoning other people who don't play quarterback position to be that quarterback. Then you realize you do need a quarterback. So right now, I think we're just going through a spot of people thought that, or women think that they didn't need us, right? And make sure y'all check out the Battle of Sexes tomorrow. You know what I mean? 9 o'clock. We're going to get into that a little bit. I think it's a hypergamy situation. And the reason I say that is because I think they're viewing hypergamy in a certain type of way. And because of this viewpoint of hypergamy and being a boss lady, it is throwing the need out for black men. And I think we're coming back to get it, because I think that you can only play your role. Masculine can only be masculine and feminine can only be feminine. So you can't deny the masculine role of leadership regardless of femininity. His presence is point blank needed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that you was about to go when you used the sports analogy. You was about to go into even what the video was about a little bit, but I kind of want to talk about that original question because I kind of agree with KJ a little bit on like the opportunity because even from if a black woman look at another race of women and say, well, you can do that because your man does that. Well, the culture is different. And I'm not even saying from black, I'm just saying black American. So your history and your tradition and your ancestry was different. So their whole mindset of submission and leadership is different. So it's like in black America, you've never been under a black man. You've never been subjugated to a black man. See, other races have subjugated their women. Black men have never subjugated their women, ever. So black American men have never subjugated their women. They never had that power to. They never had that opportunity. Not trying to say it should have been an opportunity, but they never had that period where that subjugation would seep into the mindset and the behaviors and the mentalities throughout the years and the influence throughout the years. So yeah, when you talk about the suffrage movement and all that other stuff, because them white women was subjugated by their white men. You have all these other cultures who still to this day subjugate their women. Black men, Deuce, you said it before. Black men put black women on a pedestal, worship black women more than any other race, worship their own women. So we've never been in a position not only to lead, well, we've been in leadership position for as far as our communities, but as far as even going into what you were saying, yo, once they say they don't want it no more, then how can you judge whether they're good or not? If they don't want it, they don't want it. So,
but the thing is, they know they're gonna need us though. See, that's the thing though, because we are interdependent, right, on one another. All this talk can be done, but all of this is headed for self-destruction. Then the world the natural order always resets itself, and then make sure there's a balance between masculine and feminine. So regardless of how much we hearing about all this talk, it's gonna reset. It's like that's why we hearing all the conversations now. When Kevin Samuels was doing his thing when he was alive, rest in peace to him, and they was calling and talking because the confusion is on their end now. Because yeah, think about it. There's two things a man gonna do. Either you're gonna accept it or walk away, right? If you're gonna adapt, and most cats ain't gonna change to that, but so much. And my whole thing is when it comes, I'm gonna bring this up tomorrow. I'll bring it up a little bit today. The thing is this, why I kept bringing tomorrow when we was having battle sessions, it's like the boss lady. Once you get to a certain level, how do you really look up in class when you're on there? If you're gonna get to the highest height in society, right? Then how do you literally level up when you're already there? So then I tell people that we got the leveling up in the classes on money instead of the person. Because like you can have a class of a man, right? And he don't have the money. He could be a high class man without the money. Because of the moral, all kind of stuff that he comes with. And a lot of people are putting leveling up on money status only. You know what I'm saying? They're missing all the other parts of their life, the spiritual parts, the mental parts. They're missing all the other parts that goes with it. So they focus on monetary gain only on relationships. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yo, if you only focus on this part of relationship, on as far as you upgrade, right? So you're saying, yo, if I'm gonna have a high class, I'm gonna have this upgrade life. You only looking at for money. It's like, yo, why can't you upgrade spiritually? Why you're not upgrading mentally? You're not looking for those focuses. The focus is mostly on monetization, monetizing their life. You know what I mean, and stepping on their money. So I tell people this is the wrong focus, and because of that, you're looking at the class of money and not the class of person. We're missing what people got to offer. I think women missing what people got to offer. Other men.
I think we're gonna definitely crash and burn, and the reset just gonna have to occur. I think this whole thing of the realization of it, I don't understand how one could realize what they already just never had. Like if you had it once, like just like your analogy of having the quarterback and then the quarterback happened to go away, we realized we missed it. Yeah, but we don't actually have the black men there as leaders. So how can they sit here and miss something that they do not have? That's why we're so bullheaded about leading themselves, because they weren't being led anyway. So I don't see how one could miss or realize this if it's not there anyway.
Yeah, and that's where my argument came from. I was having a discussion with a young lady the other day about submission, because I got a couple of videos about submission on my page, Kev Perspective. Go check it out. But I got stuff about submission and trying to break down what submission really is, and it's like black women's viewpoint of what submission is like predicated upon what they've seen other races go through, but not themselves, as far as with their own men. So it's like, how can you really know what submission is to a black man if you've never really seen or experienced or been taught that? Because other races may teach that. They may teach it because of their past history of it. So they may say, well, it's not going to be about subjugation and subordinate and all that other stuff. It's not going to be about that. It's not going to be about slavery. But at the same time, there is certain basis of being in a family or being under a man that you probably can do as a woman. They may teach that. So those other races, when they look and see, well, a white woman, she always so submissive, and Asian women, they always so submissive. They say it's like it's so negative only because those women were taught to do it as opposed to our women. But they don't have any examples of it. They don't know where to get the knowledge of it from, because the only knowledge they have of it is of racism and slavery.
I want to do a pushback on that. I used to have that same mentality for a hot minute, right? But as I started growing in my life financially, moving up the scales and classes in life, you realize there's more men out there that can be that are leaders than they probably privy to. And when I say privy to, is because think about this. Most women say they want bad guys, right? At one point, right? They're looking for the bad guy, the street guy, right? You're not looking for the leader. So I want to say this direct. I want to say that too. If you're not looking for the leader, how you going to find something then later on say he wasn't there? You wasn't looking for him. You wasn't going into the environments where the leader's going to be at. You can't expect the leader to go to where you want to be at because you want to be there. Like, right, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yo, they're not in the environments or want to go to the environments where the leaders are at to direct them. And I started, because the more and more I go into certain fields, the more I'm finding vast amount of black men who are leaders, who are telling people all kind of things about their life and helping them out. The thing is, no light not being shined on them. Now, light might be shined on gangsterism, thugism.
Well, that was kind of what I was about to just go into, to your point, because we're gonna talk about propaganda in a little bit. But it's like, when I talk about teaching, I'm not just talking about teaching from their mother or grandmother or family. I'm talking about in general.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to see. I see more men out there than I thought. Until I started being out there, and when I put myself out there to teach and be a leader and go into certain circumstances, like to the schools and all that, I'm seeing them. So I'm like, hold on, man. I used to have a black standpoint too. Where are the black leaders? They out here. But then when I look into the audience, right, and I look into the environment and circumference of when all this stuff going down, they're not there. So then I had to say, hold on, they don't want to participate in the leadership in the direction of it's going because certain people want control or they don't want to listen. They want to have it. They want to mix the bag of. It's kind of like it's like they want to have hip hop and business mixed like that. It's like they want that hip hop environment in every aspect of life. And I'm like, yo, that's for hip hop. That's for music. But if you're gonna go to the corporate world, right? Regardless of where you at, you still need to have a proper etiquette. You can't say that I'm gonna bring hip hop and everything. And that's why I see like the music has ushered in where it's a lackadaisicalness to life. And everybody want to bring that lackadaisical and take out the structure because they want to put their own structure into it. Everybody want to put their own definitions in life and all this like this. If you come to my office and you want a job, and I'm a business guy, and you don't have on a suit or proper attire, I'm not hiring you, regardless if I got dreads on or not. And look how I look. I need you to fit the situation. You gotta understand, people ain't fitting the situations, and everybody want to fit into hip hop situation, into every environment. It don't work like that.
Well, that's the condition of the constructs. Like, you look at companies now, they do incorporate it, so they figure that everybody incorporates it. They feel like
on what tier?
They incorporate the, I'm talking about from a cultural appropriation standpoint. Like they incorporate hip hop from an appropriation standpoint, just for the optics, or to garner people or customers or whatever the case is. So when people go around and they say, well, if Walmart can come out with Juneteenth ice cream and cater to us, then why you can't cater to me and you me? They go into that mindset.
Environment. Well, people ain't supposed to cater on every environment. It's like,
They
why
should.
would? It's like, if you go in the water, we're not catered to because what you want, and we're in a different environment. Like, let me put it like this: if we go into wildlife, you take that whole. I like telling Christians this: if we go overseas and you go to Africa, and we start going to some of these Muslim countries, I don't care how much of a Christian you are, you're gonna have to abide by the Muslim laws. You can't say, I'm from another country, I want to change these laws while I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
People got to stop trying to go into other people's environments and trying to change their laws. You can't enforce your laws and your idealistic mentality in another environment that you have no Trump care to say so over. And that we've seen a lot of people going to other people's business with that. Oh, I'm gonna change this to fit my. No, you don't run nothing over here. You ain't even created it. None of this. You got to abide by the laws of this company. It's called bylaws. The company formed bylaws before you even got there. Inside the operation agreement, you know.
So I that makes sense when you're talking about going into someone else's, I'll say, home and almost trying to tell them what to do. Mm-hmm. But we're talking about our home. Our home. We don't have, the construct is how we're looking at the democracy at its best, where we the people are making the choices. So since we're talking about leadership, the we the people would be the women. In order for the men to lead, it's not like almost like a dictatorship where we go in and we're telling them, yo, you gonna follow or whatever may have you. They actually have to make the choice to follow, because you can't lead shit if no one chooses to follow. So we're just seeing the construct at its best. So in order for them to even this to resonate, there's something, it has to be a major thing that has to resonate with these women for any of this leadership shit that even matter. You can't lead nothing if no one chooses to follow, and we can't make them follow. Mm-hmm. So ideally, it sounds cool, but then it's like, so where do we change the minds of the women? Because it has to start. It has to start there. Otherwise, we can hang that leadership up and just say, "Hey, dog, hey, wasn't born in it. I will let them keep it."
Do you think it's because they think we don't dictate laws, we don't set laws in type of government? You know what I'm saying? So some people I think have no power. You can't get it.
I think it's the image of a black man never running anything.
Yeah, I think it's because they're not.
Like, I think it's an example that, like, yeah, white women can say they hate white men, but they will still submit to him because they've seen him run a country for many years. They've seen African women will listen to African men because they've seen them run a country. Asian women will listen to Asian men because they've seen them run a country. There's a example of history that comes with it that gives them a level of trust, even though they don't realize it. They have no trust in us. That's pretty much what it is.
This is my problem going at
and if you want to be honest, they don't really have a reason to, because it's never been shown.
This is my stance.
Unless you just think that, well, you just want to lead them off of faith. Good luck.
Yeah, but my stance on that is, I'm a biblical man, right? Y'all know that. Mm-hmm. So my whole thing is this, and then I hear people say, "Yo, I'll never see y'all lead," but this is my problem. You ever seen God lead? And the reason I say it like that is like, yo, we direct descendants. Everything else after us, how I feel, comes down the line. Like we so close to that, right? And we move like God, which means what? Most of everything that been invented, Black culture, okay? All of cultures and societies came from our culture, okay? So it's like we omnipotent on this earth. You might not see it, but it's present. And my whole thing is, just because you see other constructs, we the closest thing of the image of God, so we gonna move like them. You might not think you see what we do, but we are present in every manner. You might not think that the laws come from us, but that must be you must be don't understand the Moors stuff. Who are the Moors? The Moors gave the laws so they can understand law structure. We gave the structure of how to design laws and set laws. That comes from them. It's so many structures that comes from us, they just don't see it. And I say that, yo, that's kind of like the God presence. Like you might don't see God every day, but he's still working. You seeing all this, you seeing when you hear the music, you seeing our effect on culture. We keep affecting it. When we at our lowest point, we still move in culture. And that's why I tell people it's like, yo, you gotta realize how we function. We not function to be just a trophy. We function to be a move around this whole earth. See, most people are seeing, when they seeing states and stuff, they're just seeing trophies. But what they ain't realizing about the black diaspora is actually running the world. They don't look like it. And I tell people, you don't know what's going on in Africa. You don't know what's going on in a lot of places. You've never been to the places, you've never been to Russia. Let me put it like this. Even though there's a war going on over there, y'all better do y'all research on why is the war going on and what's going on over mandates. Because a lot of people don't understand that a lot of stuff that's going on over there, they never put us in slavery. Why? They never had to feel like we had to be subservient to them. We never had to be subservient to certain cultures. They had to force that. That was a war. So when people see slaves, man, they think we just was amiss about it. That's really POWs. That's how people got a misrepresentation of the black man and how much they think we in a higher class of thought, evolution, and
I mean, it's a huge misrepresentation of the black man, but the pushback that black women may have on that is that there's a difference between influencing power and being in power. So it's like,
because we love trophies over here. We love trophies over here.
because
but the black man got to worry about the world. He can't worry about the trophy though. Like we're gonna let the world.
Wait. But what I'm saying is the pushback that they have is, I don't respect Congress as much as I respect the president. That's the pushback.
See, that's the thing though. A president ain't higher than a king. I want everybody to understand that we view the world from kingship, rulership. That's different from presidency. You got what I'm saying? Like, we talking about the earth. We talking about the world.
But listen, all that sounds good, but when we keep talking about this rulership, we're not ruling. It just sounds so super idealistic. Like, because I can hear the pushback because I have conversations with a lot of these women. And I can literally sit here and hear everything you saying. I can literally be sitting there because even to me, I'm like, that's why I said, shit, good luck. Because they're going to be doing that same thing. They're going to be like, well, nigga, show me the ring. Yeah, you might not care about the trophies, but they do. They going to follow the trophies. So you not caring about the trophies, what that mean to them? Because they still have to follow. You cannot lead if they don't choose to follow. So we can say all that idealistic stuff, but if they don't care what the hell we saying, guess who we gonna be leading? Nobody but ourselves.
No, you're gonna lead someone. This the thing is, ain't everybody. It's very few gonna be in this transition of upgrading. I'm not expecting 50% to make it, bro. I think that's another thing too. People think that sometimes when we talking, especially me, I'm talking about everybody's gonna be incorporated. No, I don't think but less than 50% gonna get incorporated. It's so slim. It's like I believe like a lot of people are going to be on the path of destruction. Only certain ones going to get through the door. So my whole thing is we just here to impact the ones who going to get through the door. And we already know it's going to be poor people and rich people all in life. It's going to be beggars, right? All in life. So my whole thing is they got to find what class they fit in. We just here kind of like to let people know that it are options And you can be easily misled in life and miss a lot of opportunity because you picked somebody information that wasn't prosperous for you.
Yeah,
Like they might not see it, but that's the illusion of not being able to see the real. I can't help it if they can't see the real. They want to live a fake. If you get caught up in real gold,
is it illusion if they really just don't give a fuck what we talking about?
That's them. For the lack
But
of
is that
knowledge,
no? How is that an illusion though? Like if the life that they're literally actually living, just because it doesn't coincide, how does that make that an illusion?
The Matrix is just an illusion, right?
How does that make that an illusion?
I mean, for them, they can be reality. It can feel real.
But how does it make it a illusion if they're actually living it?
Because they're living. All right. The illusion is that you have to live like this. This is what it is. You don't.
No. But they might not be saying they have to. They might just be saying this is just a choice I'm choosing to live. That's what I'm saying. It's like we're automatically saying that they just don't know better, so that's why they're doing it. There are a lot of people that know better. They just make the choice. So it's not an illusion if they're literally making the choice and this is how they want to live. That's not an illusion.
Well, my whole thing is it's a limited amount of choices. It's like if you know you got A, B, C, D, right? You got choices. But then I come along and say, hey, you know there's E, F, G? But you never heard of EFG? You just didn't know.
That's what I just said. That's why I said I get it if we speaking on as if they just don't know. But there's a lot of people who have an understanding, but they prefer this lifestyle because that's the whole following thing.
It comes I see that because it's like an addict to it. It's like an addict to anything. You know what I mean? A habit. You want something more than after a while because it's the way your living is. I understand that. But the illusion is, when I say the illusion is, you think that this is the line. And I'm like, oh no, the line go further. This ain't telling you everything. And then it's other people who giving you the illusion. And then it's like, say like it's us that we talk about certain things. Like when I tell people the way you work and make money, because you get to go to your home and leave your job clocking in, you thought you wasn't a slave. You feel like you're not a slave. That's an illusion. You are. I know that people are going to give me their constructs on why they not. I'm out here feeding my family, justifications and all that. And I say, and if I sit down with a person just for an hour and show them, they're like, oh, we slaves. Yeah. But it's a way of freedom. But not everybody.
You a slave regardless. Maybe the person who think that they at the level of success is selling themselves an illusion that they free when they just as much as a slave as the other person. maybe that nigga is selling themselves an illusion, and the other people understand their actuality in placement.
That's a possibility.
Why would we say that? If we all right, let me put it like this. If I have freedom of time and I have control of time and movement, and you don't, you're more of a slave than I am. I don't care how much we want to compare each other about mindsets. I can do things you can't. That's freedom.
You're just saying that you're not a slave to the particular things that they are a slave to. But you fall victim to slavery in a sense too. You fall slavery to your drive to be successful. Just like when they talk about Kevin Samuels, of how much of a push and then he dies. Didn't get accomplished. He still was a slave. People fall slaves to many things. People are slaves to their family. People are slaves. You're a slave regardless. It's just all about what you want to take the pride and ownership of what you want to slave.
That's a little different than you choosing your responsibilities.
Everything's a choice. Everybody on this planet is exactly where they want to be. So everybody made the choice of where their slavery is.
I can understand.
Everybody made the choice of where
people picking their prisons, but I don't think a lot of people know they're slaves.
I mean, whether they understand, like how you say, I agree with you though. Whether they understand it or not, everybody is exactly where they want to be. Everybody chose their level of slavery.
I can agree with that. Everybody chose their level of slavery. Yeah, I can agree with that.
So then we might as well say that, since we're talking about women, right? So we might as well say these women are picking their own suffering. Then why should we care when they're choosing their own suffering?
Yeah, they choosing it. No, here's the thing about it though. They choosing it, but don't know they choosing it.
Yeah, they might not understand.
That's when illusion come into play again. When I keep saying about this is illusion. It's like being a slave and don't know you're a slave. It's an illusion that you think you have to live this way. And my thing is, they're making a choice, but do they really know that they're making a choice? Do they really know their choice like that?
Well, here's another thing too, because part of choices is understanding consequences of the choices and the accountability that come with them choices. Now, the question is, are they aware of the consequences of their choices? Are they even told they even suffering consequences? Are they told or taught that they should hold themselves accountable for those choices? So if they don't feel like they are holding themselves accountable or going through any consequences, they're not going to think they're making choices.
Well, the one understands the choices are still being made.
Even though the choices are being made,
but their actuality, we can call it their reality, but they still choose and place themselves within the slavery, whether it is or not.
Hey, yo, you think like women understand, like, after a while you can cross a point of masculinity that really takes you out the realm of what men are looking for? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
I saw it on my show last night.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah.
The whole thing, I've seen a lot of feminine women, right? But then they get to they start taking a lot of masculine thoughts, right, and characteristics, and they still look feminine and everything, but they mind, right, process a lot of masculine thoughts. So it's like, yeah, you look feminine, but you think so masculine. I don't want you. You get what I'm saying? Like, you don't balance the masculine feminine out at all, because like, you look feminine, but when you come to the table, it's two masculine brains. I don't want that.
To me, it's ignorance. To me, it's ignorance. It's the thought. It's not knowing, right? So it's like women will say, "Well, black men aren't leaders," and we say, "Well, black men are not leaders in the community because we haven't been seen or taught how to be leaders in this, that, and the third." Well, some black men, not all black men. Some black men who are put into the media or in their faces or in their environments, like they're not the leaders. If you ask them what leadership is, they couldn't tell you. But it's also ignorance from the women by thinking that they can be leaders, even though nobody taught them how to be leaders. So you don't even, not only do you not know submission because you've never been under a leader, but you don't know leadership either. So why would you think you can do it?
Are we looking too much for the princes to be leader? Or the coming of age men, like the women keep looking at coming of age men and say, you're not a leader. I'm like, well, he coming of age. He ain't supposed to lead yet. You get what I'm saying? It's a transition to your leadership. You get what I'm saying? It's like it's coming up the ranks. And sometimes I'm looking at society like, who are we picking and what age group and all that are we looking at as leaders? Are we looking at 25 to 30 until we just turning 30 to be leaders? I'm not looking at those age ranges as leaders, but I see like we be talking a lot sometimes, and I be wondering how are we looking. What, I don't know.
I don't believe many people are looking to be led by others.
I can see that too.
Like I just don't. Like I don't see where people are like this independency concept is very, very heavily like amongst our men and our women. So even when we talk about men checking these roles of being leadership, we have such independent minds. The idea of even taking the positions to have to be within front of people, I think men move away from, because it's like, yo, it's easy over here. I'd rather do this. I think even for women, it's like, yo, why fall and submit underneath this when I can just do this right here? Our government has paved ways for me to be able to do all the same shit without having to listen to this damn nigga, without having to put up with this. I think people just care more about themselves, and they're not actually trying to be led by somebody else. They care more about leading themselves because we look and live our lives independently.
That's where that phrase, "I can do bad all by myself" come from.
Yeah.
But another thing is too, talking about these leaders, I'm seeing a lot of guys, and I guess this is where the pushback coming in too. a lot of guys got expectations on women that they won't even. I think they got expectations too. Like, women got this hypergamous lifestyle of more money, right, for the man before she live up. But my whole thing is too is that these guys got expectations of dating supermodels, right? And I'm like, brother, you don't fit the category too. Just like that woman don't fit the category of having that high value man, you don't have the category of getting this supermodel type of lady. But both of these, I see, because I was like, yo, it is messed up on both ends. And I'm like, brother, like, you got a out of this world, what was your standard? I don't know what you call it.
It's standards. It's standards.
Yeah. And then you don't fit to even grab her. You want a woman that you don't even fit for. And now I'm like, yo, everybody asks for some stuff that they don't fit for. Right? They haven't even worked to become to have that opposite for yet. Like, you haven't developed to be in that role yet, but you want the other person to be fully developed. Like, no.
That's the assumption that they actually know who they are. A lot of people don't even know themselves enough to know what they're even asking for. A lot of people have an overinflated ego, overinflated sense of self of who they think they are. So they ask for who they think they ask for something to be compatible for who they think they are and not who they actually are.
Hey man, why do you think men want wives before they want homes?
Wives before homes?
Yeah.
I would say just the idea or the idealistic part of having a family.
But that's my part of what I'm trying to say about men. Stop asking for a situation you can't put nothing in. You know what I mean? Like,
that's like the same question. That's the same question that's going around now, where women are asking other women, "Why do you want a baby but don't want a husband?"
Right. Same thing. Why would you want a wife and you can't maintain this wife? It's like buying a car, knowing that you're gonna be able to keep up this car. It's gonna break down on you. It's gonna fail. Don't you understand? If you don't do no maintenance, no keep up, no nothing to this thing, it's failing. And I'm telling guys, like, same thing with you in your relationships. You do nothing to it. You know it's gonna fail. You might get it at the moment, but you can expect this car and this whole thing is destroyed because you're not gonna maintain it. And like, why buy something and waste your time on something you're not gonna maintain? You're not gonna take care of. You got a superficial life too, brother. If you're not gonna maintain something that calls maintenance, you can't buy a car and say you're not gonna maintain it. You can't get a woman and say you're not gonna maintain it. You can't have a family and say you're not gonna maintain it. You can't have children and say you're not gonna maintain it. It's choices. Like, I'm like, yo, a bunch of guys making a bunch of choices of being lack of men who maintain stuff. So I can understand women point on that. And I tell guys, like, and women, it's two sides of the story that got to get addressed. Dude, you're gonna have to step up and realize what your role is as a man. You're gonna have to be in your masculinity. It's a clip. I see you be doing these things now, or a lot of people doing them. I might start doing a couple of them where you're taking what somebody else said and you like basically like listen to her. I think it's a person and a woman that was speaking. I might have to do that clip. I don't really do this internet stuff other than what we're doing now in business, but I might just jump to that social world a little bit more. Because it's like some things that we got to be really think about in society that we ain't thinking about on both sides. And I'm talking about a guy from being stepping up and being a higher class man, it ain't got nothing to do with money. And I'm talking about women from actually having a realistic on hypergamy. Ain't nothing wrong with stepping up, but hypergamy ain't got nothing to do with only money. It's about the class of a person. And class of a person, you know what I'm saying, is so much different than what people think about. And I said, look at the class. If you stepping up with the class of a person, then this is hypergamous. You dating up because this person is at another level. Mentally, spiritually, this is hypergamy. But if you're only looking at money, it kills it. And me old girl gonna get onto it tomorrow because I already know that she coming for the.
It's because the hypergamy come from the Hindu. It's dating the same level or up. It's basically just not going down. So a lot of times, I think if we got to make sure we address that same level comes into place too, because a lot of these women with their unrealistic settings, they're shooting for the up, but you not where you need to be because same level or up, not just up. Because
Mhm.
when you're looking at it from the up, you could take a little bottom gutter bitch who say she's shooting for the stars. She going
Yeah.
up. But no. Your placement right now is where you belong. You live within poverty. You belong with poverty ass niggas. Because it is about classes. So if you're not
Right.
in an upper class, then you cannot try to talk upper class.
But the thing
And
is,
that's
what we're talking
what-
about, American women, right? Or we say America, right, has changed its definition to fit our capitalist ways, right?
That's right.
So you put a capitalist definition with this word, like you said, it comes from the Hindus. That's why I say it's classes, and it's more than just this monetary thing. But when we come to America, America's going to change this whole word to be more on the capitalist side, and look at it from a capitalist viewpoint. I'm like, oh, this word, understanding that's got levels to it, but they ain't had a strict capitalist viewpoint. And when you hear this being ciphered on this YouTube or social media, most of this word is coming from only a capitalist viewpoint. And I'm like, hold on, why I keep hearing this capitalist viewpoint with hypergamy all the time? That's why I was like, yo, just address it from this angle of really seeing words from original. I always talk about roots. Like over time, people change definitions, but the root is really the real meaning. You can't change the root.
So where does the topic of hypergamy come for you, as far as what y'all might talk about tomorrow? Because the only reason I ask that is because who do you think should understand hypergamy more between the man and the woman?
The man.
Okay. I believe the man should understand it, because men, even though women may be hypergamous, men will disregard it for the sake of whatever he want to get. Like that girl in poverty, he ain't worried about whether she in poverty or not, as long as she giving it up. That whole hypergamy goes completely out the window.
But that's coming from knowing thyself. Why I say that? Because you are the one that hypergamy is being placed on. So if hypergamy in the definition is the label is being put on you, then you should know what label is being put on you.
Yeah, I was about to agree with that. I was about to say it definitely is a bit more so for the man to understand it, because you are the one who actually sets the tone for this to work. And then the women just fall underneath hypergamy, but you are that.
Yeah, if you're gonna be something, then you need to know what you are.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You know what I mean? Like she gonna say, "Oh, look, you didn't know. You didn't know how to step up your." That's another thing about why men have ambition. That's why we in the versus world. That's why this is a one-on-one thing. That's why it's competitions, right? Because we in the world are competing to see who's gonna be in these different rankings, and then women look at that and choose from what they consider would be their provider, protection, and all these other things from what we display of our masculinity when we out here competing with other men.
Oh, so let me ask this question, because it came from Kev's show last night, and he had a question about intimidation. So, do you think that men are intimidated by women, or are they just intimidated by the hypergamy?
Both now.
I think
at one point you didn't have to worry about your level, right? Now in our modern day society, it's a focus. So now I would say, yeah, men have to pay attention to it. And one time, like, yeah, we probably would have been hesitant to talk to certain women. You know what I mean? Because it's like, been somewhere you like, I got much of the courage to talk to a certain woman because you might feel a certain type of way. I mean, that's kind of like normal that a woman always had that type of effect on a man. I mean, until you get comfortable or whatever, just introducing himself. But now I think both things apply. One time it was just one way. Now don't get me wrong, in America, like, always been hypergamous relationships everywhere else. I'm talking about here in America. In America, we didn't have to worry about it at one point. Now, no, this is part of, we're capitalist people now. We are Black American capitalists, period. Right over here. So this is part of our culture. And we just got to learn how to control the narrative now. And I think that's what we're really trying to get back, what people don't understand. Like, we're really just trying to get back the narrative. If we get the narrative back, then we can get everything else back in order. But we don't control the narrative and the outlook of all these things, then we're going to always get a bad look on all these things. That's another reason why you see in the Man of Fear, all of us talking us men talking about little things, because we trying to get back control of the narrative. Once we get back control of the narrative, we can redirect the script. You get what I'm saying? But right now, we're running off of narratives that we're not directly, that we don't have. We're not writing the narrative. So it's like, how do we really direct something we ain't writing? And we trying to get it back so we can't write it. That's what all these conversations about. Really, I think I started to think like more of these manosphere and Moscow and all them conversations is really us men talking to us together so we can actually get our narrative back.
You know why it's so hard to control the narrative? Because we done empowered the women too much. See, the narrative is controlled by who's ever doing the speaking. And women do a lot of talking. So even like as long as we're allowing them to keep running their mouth and not shutting the fuck up, we always gonna be behind the narrative because we can't snatch it from them and take it down because we done empowered them too strong. See, when we was having them in that certain place and we wasn't allowing them to do certain things, it was a lot easier to control. But see, that's what happens when you empower something. See, when you empower something, you take away power from something else. So, like I said, we got what democracy showed within its finest. We built this bed. We made it. Now we just laying down every night in the same mess that we created. So might need to start taking back some rights.
Well, was that the point? Was that the point that you was about to make about the intimidation, or that was something else?
Yeah, because I was going to go into the whole thing because I was agreeing with Deuce when he was saying that it's both. But I was like, one of the reasons, because when I said last night on the show, I was like, men don't see women as competition, which also bleeds into why we're losing as well, because the women capitalize and they say, nigga, I'm your fucking competition. But we trying to say, nah, queen, you ain't my competition. I'm only competing out here with the kings. But not realizing, nah, yo, that bitch was able to pick up a sword the same way you pick up a sword. That bitch got on armor. That bitch, she ready to go to war. She ready to fight. But we looking down because we moving with this mindset of she's a weaker vessel that we not acknowledging. Oh, shit. Oh, my bad. I didn't know you was training with the Amazons. Oh, yeah, nigga, I was gearing up. I was getting my education. I was getting all these other stuff, getting all these Greco skills and everything ready for you, nigga. You the one that's not ready for me. So I understand the arrogance when women talk like that. But at the end of the day, we would have to stronghold our way back into position. We would have to.
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that.
To position. It will not be given to us because women view Black women in our country, they do view us as weak. That's why they don't have respect for us. That's why they believe they can talk the way that they talk. That's why they can carry on the way that they carry on. That's why I don't entertain niggas when they say that stupid shit about not putting their hands on a woman. One of the reasons why you operate that way is because you walk this world without consequences.
Yeah,
I make it my duty to teach.
Consequences.
I make it my duty to teach you, and it doesn't matter who like it and who doesn't like it. We have to strong arm our way back into this. Until we ready to force and bowl guard and juggernaut it, might as well shut the fuck up and allow them to do what they're gonna do.
Yeah, that person that's not feeling consequences in life, brother, is not gonna actually understand their role and understand how to play this game fairly. Like you say, like, and put it like this: if somebody come to you and challenges you, right? They're gonna think they can beat you until you go ahead and accept the challenges and put that ass whipping down. Right? And then they gotta say, oh, I gotta respect you more because I know I can't beat you in this area. But until you show them that, hey, don't challenge this, you can't win, and then you actually have to play the game and beat them so they can humble themselves. And that's the thing, like some people need to be humble. You know what I'm saying? Like you think you can win at these sets, and nobody saying that you can't participate in certain things. The thing is when you think you can run it. And like, nah, I think equality also is equal fairness. I don't know which word really fit. I think that threw us off.
Fuck all that fairness. They need to be treated like children. They need to be treated like children. You behave and perform like children, just like you don't listen to things that are told to you or whatever may have you. I need to put you back in your place because you don't know your placement, just like a child. So if women are out of order, they're whatever, and they're so much more masculine, I need to take my masculinity and show you and put you back into your feminine place. Because if I allow you to do it yourself, you just blossoming more of a man. How the fuck is this even possible? You should be blossoming as a woman, but I get it. You don't know that you really that woman. So you're going to blossom as a man. So it's my job to put you back in that place the same way with a child. If your child's out of order or your child's out of line, do we let them run rapid and let them figure it out themselves? Or do we take the initiative to put them back in their place?
You got to establish order.
I think that men compete with women more than they think they do. I think that
in what manner?
I think that the moment the competition starts is the moment you allow the comparison to start.
This is my thing is I don't think we're competing. I think they're competing.
No. Let me finish because when we talk about narrative, years ago the narrative started with women comparing themselves to men, and I think that became the prominent narrative. So much so that men started comparing themselves to women. So now, once you compete or once you compare and you start to size somebody up, you see them as competition. So I think that men size up women more than they think they do.
By looking
and
at
that's why
when you say size them up,
no, not as a weaker vessel, as an equal. Or even as a higher vessel sometimes. Because if he's looking at her,
yeah, this is we.
Let me finish. He's gonna look at her and say, "She driving that. She got that car. She got this. She got that." And he gonna look at himself. That shit happens a lot more than niggas try to play out that it happens. A lot more, and that's more so on insecurity. It ain't about her being a weaker vessel. It's about your insecurities, nigga. So yes, men do compete with women a lot. Now I'm not saying he's looking at her like, oh, she can beat me up. Like, no, it's not about who's weaker and who's stronger.
So we talking about
it's about who's seen as higher.
As capitalist views, right? From a capitalistic vanity standpoint, correct?
Yeah. I mean, it would have to be that way.
Yeah.
All right, let me put it like this. I understand that, but the men who are doing that, we are also seeing that they are changing to the other side, and they're going to be called other things than masculine. They changing. Most men who we see doing that now, they are changing sexes and everything to go over there and rock with them. So I'm like, the men who competing with those women, hell with it. The men who competing with those women are being transgenderized right now. You get what I'm saying? They competing to a whole different degree mentally, and then after a while they go get sex changes and stuff like that. They're carving out that lane. We ain't talking about those people. Like that's why I think who are really looking at women from that standpoint. I don't really.
Men are out here competing with women and still getting married to them. I see what you're saying, but I've had plenty of conversations with guys who look at their woman or look at another woman and start sizing them up based off of who they are and who that woman is. That's why I say it's more men who compete with women than we may think do.
I understand the placement and where you're coming from, but I understand the placement, but I don't see the strive there for men. Actually, the competing part though, like I understand comparison, and they're not the fucking same. I understand the comparison and things of that nature, but I don't see that strive, like the competition side of it. I think that's the part I just disagree with.
What area you see?
Maybe just because I'm not seeing it. I don't see the strive of men actually, even within dealing with a women, because even a lot of the situations where the women are the higher the breadwinners, most of the dudes fall back. They're not striving to push past them because that's what the competition would be.
But who's to say they're not trying to strive to push past them?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying either or. I'm saying that I don't see the strive though. That's why I said that's the part I disagree with. I just don't see that actual strive.
And the reason I kind of can back kids up a little bit about that is because when we hear these women talk, they say they can't find a man on their level and blah, 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 blah. So it's like, if you can't find this, then obviously they ain't trying to be in that same room with you. If you ain't seeing it. You get what I'm saying? It's like, I can't find a man this way, this way, this way. But obviously, they ain't trying to compete with you to be in the same room because you won't even see it. Yeah, then you get all lonely, then you go on, like, you're hitting the wall and now you're lonely. So I'm like, well, obviously you was competing by yourself because I don't see in these other, the person you compete with, I don't see them being lonely. I don't see them with the lack of lifestyle that you are having just because you got some vanity affairs going on. So that's like, I'm like, I see what you're saying, like men envy. That's when the praise come in. Watch it, men start to praise a lot of women. Like, yo, you just want a mama. You never grew out of not wanting a mama. Like some men, I don't want a mama. Some men looking for mamas. But then if I say a man who's looking for a mama, I don't say he competing with a woman. He looking for a mama. He ain't grew up yet. So that's why I was like, so yours, I see, like, yeah, I can understand it. But then I look at those men as mamas, mama boys. They're mamas. They look for mamas. So I don't see mama boys competing with women. They
I
look
just
for
don't
women.
see too many relationship competitions, though. I just don't see too many of these relationship competitions. It could just be me. I just don't see it, though.
I see it all the time.
If I see a very strong guy or I see a weak guy, I don't see the competitive one.
I agree. I agree. Like I just don't see.
I mean, I understand where the competition comes from. I just don't see them.
Yeah.
Like I see the strong ones and I see the weak ones.
That's why I say I understand Kev's point. I just don't see that strive though. I just don't see that competition though.
So y'all pretty much saying that if he's in that relationship and say she the breadwinner, right? And it's either going to be one or the other. Either he's going to become the breadwinner himself or he's just going to be complacent in her being the breadwinner.
And that's what I'm saying. Most of the people, when I see that dynamic is like that, the guy threw in the towel.
Yeah.
He ain't competing with it. He threw in the towel.
How many
I either see they either super driven as that man, or they just went ahead and say, you got it. I don't see the competition relationship wise. I just don't see it.
And another reason I say that too is like, if we look at it like that, then why are these women not staying with men? Why? If it was obviously the competition is causing a breakup, then you know what I mean? Like, ain't nobody standing for no competition against no woman. Not when we're supposed to be as a partner.
I don't even think the woman stands for competition. I don't think neither party stand for competition. The woman ain't stand for competition with that man. That man ain't standing for competition with that woman.
I can see from an outside perspective when we just doing it, but inside relationships, I don't really see it.
Nah, I don't see that.
If it is, then that relationship gonna be over. Ain't gonna last but so long. It's gonna be a bunch of turmoil and toxic.
But it's gonna be toxic regardless.
Yeah.
Whether it's complacent or competition.
Oh yeah, I mean you're gonna definitely reach that toxicity regardless, especially today. So I guess you basically just get to choose whichever way how you want your toxins.
Even if he's the breadwinner, it's still gonna be. It don't really matter at this point.
So when y'all hear women say that's a challenge, a man is a challenge to a woman, what y'all think when they say that?
If a woman said that a man is a challenge,
he's a challenge. Like why you trying? Oh, he's a challenge. Why you talking to me, Shawty? You a challenge?
I've never really.
What do you mean by that?
I never really heard a woman say it though.
Yeah, I never hear a women say that. Like I hear guys say that all the time about women.
She's a challenge. I was about to say I've heard more men say that the woman was a challenge than the woman saying that the man was a challenge.
So if a woman said that, where do you think she's coming from? What point of view then?
To me, that sounds like the exact same bullshit of hearing women carry on about saying they just want to be taught. It just sounds like some bullshit. It sounds like you're kind of trying to just stroke my ego in a sense. It just sounds like some bullshit to me.
The ego stroke.
I think the challenge is the same as men. You just trying to get control. That's the challenge.
So you think that's a saying just for manipulation?
Yeah, and control. It's all about control.
Trying to stroke your ego.
Yeah.
She don't feel you got it naturally. She's trying to push you into that realm.
How honest you think a woman will actually be with you? What I mean by that, so like I asked a question the other day. I'll give you a quick question. I asked one, I said, yo, you got $1 million or you got me? Today, got to pick me or the mill. What you picking? Her answer was, I'm picking you. Like, come on, really? You need $1 million. You gonna pick me or $1 million? Answer truthfully. She still said, I'm picking you. I'm thinking like, yo, you gonna pick this $1 million, but then I don't want to be like making her choice. She already told me what she choose. So I listened to it and I said, you know what? You said it. I'm gonna take your answer. But then in back of my mind, I was like, how honest was that? But I'm gonna take your word. But how honest really was that?
So what was the question again? How honest are women really with you?
Yeah. Well, no. With men, period. I mean,
yeah, I'm talking about with men. Yeah.
With me, I know it's all kind of manipulation going on. Period. I just how I feel. I'm not a trusting guy. I got trust issues, so I'm always pulling away. But
she's gonna be as honest as you make her be.
But I couldn't make her be that honest and put the scenario right in front. It was a made up situation, right? So I was like mad at myself. I made up the situation to be so out of touch, and I couldn't put the challenge right there to see what would have been picked. But so I got to take the word. So I was like, damn, I got $1 million to give her, and I wouldn't just give up $1 million anyway. But I should have did it on a more reasonable basis.
Now I wasn't talking about you. I was just talking about it in general. I said she's going to be as honest as you make her to be.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think she's going to be as honest as you feel is necessary. Mm-hmm. I think she's going to be as honest as she feels is necessary.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, I mean, I can see that. It just, I mean, I've been wondering about honesty, like how truthful will a person be?
But I mean, I'm the type of guy though. Honesty is at the top of my list.
No doubt.
So that's why I say when I say make her be is really of a part of not just accepting any answer. It's the acceptance of answers. It's like, okay, you said that, but the question has follow-up questions. All the questions got follow-up questions. So eventually you're gonna have to be honest. There's gonna be some pushback. Eventually you're gonna have to be honest. It's not gonna be a thing of I'm just gonna take the first answer that fly out your mouth and you think I'm just supposed to believe it. No. There's gonna be a follow-up question to it because I'm listening. So that's why for me, it's like as much as you make them be. But I do agree with KJ when he says as much as they feel necessary. Because that's the reason, part. Yeah,
and the reason why I answer it that way is because when we're talking about honesty, there's righteousness that goes into honesty. There's fairness that goes into honesty. So I think it all depends on how someone is placing themselves when the question is posed. And that would deem the answer in which that you get, but it still can be honest. Because I used to always ask people, what the fuck that mean when somebody say your truth, my truth, and all that. But it took me diving into the concept of honesty to understand, oh, now I get why y'all use these claiming words to it. Because it is predicated upon you. So, as honest as she feel is necessary. I think that goes with anybody. I think honesty is that. It goes however you feel is necessary. Because you might be in a situation where you might be standing upon fairness. But then the things or whatever you go because you're trying to push for a concept within it that you then might lie. And then it sounds funny because like, hold up, nigga. But if you're really pushing, but these are just aspects of the word. So I think it's necessary.
So that's what honesty. had that go on.
And my concept isn't just for women. That's just period for me.
Yeah. I wasn't talking about just women. I was talking about people. Period. I was talking about people. Period too. I think
it goes for both sides. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is that, hey, we men. We come from a masculine perspective.
Yeah. Well, let's get in, because even though we pretty much then talked about a good bit of it, let's get into this video.
Wait. Before we leave it, because honesty is all about being truthful, right? And you know how women are more guided by their emotions. So even if it's some bullshit, right? But it's truly how she feel, and she tell it to you, that would literally be her being honest.
No,
Even if that's some bullshit, it would still actually be her being honest.
Yeah, it's no.
I agree with you. It's a bullshit. But I'm saying it would still be her being honest, though.
Yeah, I mean, just because it's a explanation for it, don't make it an excuse for me. So
I'm good. Because if she's telling her the truth and being sincere, that's honesty by definition.
Yeah, I know you. I know you being honest in the situation. I know you. You feel like it's honest. I know it.
Like,
I know you do.
Tricky, yo.
Yeah, but
no,
guess
I
what?
had to talk about that.
I'm still gonna have something on it. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and throw this out. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this clip in.
Fellas, this is gonna piss a lot of y'all off listening. What? But I just got to be very honest with it. When I thought about it, I was like, wait a minute. If you in the sports, if you the leader of the team and the team loses, they gonna come at you, right? Because you the leader.
You the quarterback.
If we the leader of the community, and if black women are so out of control, or modern women are so out of control, then ain't that on us?
Yeah.
Like, then we drop the ball some fucking where? Yeah. Because when I think about it, like, we are the least, if we're just talking about black men and black women, we are less educated than them.
Yeah.
And it's getting to the point where we even starting to make less money than them.
Yeah.
I don't think we even in a fucking position to hold them accountable. Hold each other accountable. Let them hold each other accountable, and then we kind of come back and meet in the middle.
So I guess my thing on that was, I was on the sports analogy more than anything. I was pretty much stuck on that for a quick second because the sports analogy, even though it made sense, it didn't make sense to the situation or what he was talking about. Because it's like, that's not leadership. That's only part of it to me. Leadership isn't just taking full full accountability for your team. Leadership is also knowing how to delegate responsibilities to know who should take accountability on the team for something going on. You knowing how to give accountability is also leadership.
Because wouldn't the coach be the leader, not the quarterback?
But I guess they're going from an infield standpoint. Like if you're based on the field at that time, even though the coach is the leader of the team, they see the quarterback as the leader of the play and of the course of action.
See, that sounds like that could breed us into some illusion now.
Should be talking about illusions.
That sounds like an illusional situation then. Because then now we're talking about the person who's really doing the delegating and the driving and setting up the plays and all that. So yeah, you might be a driver of it, but someone else set it up for you to do. Mm-hmm. He's still the leader though, because you following him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you might pushed it, but he the leader. You get what I'm saying? So I don't think that sounds like an illusion there. I can't even give the quarterback that position. No, you just your position. The same way that lineman have his position, the wide receiver has his position. You just have a particular position, but our leader, coach, he draw this up. We running his plays, not yours.
Okay, I mean, when that analogy is given, then not only I can see where that need to be changed a little bit because we talk about on the field and who's in the owner's box, right? And like whoever is holding these certain positions got the inner say of how this thing gonna work. So we got to go from quarterback mindset to ownership mindset of the team, and then we get our say so back. And that's
what I was
when
talking about the illusion side. Because you'll be the quarterback thinking now you the leader, but that's an illusion because you actually not the leader.
You actually got, and that's the whole thing about controlling narrative. If you're not owning the situation, how you gonna control the narrative? And we try to get back the narrative again, but you can't control the narrative if you're not the owner. The owner get to say what the narrative is going to be. You might bring forth a narrative, right? And say, "Yo, this is the narrative we want to paint." You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, dude, like you might want to paint this narrative, but this ain't the narrative we're gonna paint. But if you own this, you get to choose what the narrative is going to be. So the thing is about
so are we saying that the men are the coach, but the woman is the quarterback?
What?
Is that what we're saying? Are we saying that the man is the coach and the woman is the quarterback?
No, what we're trying to say, we don't want to be the coach or the quarterback. We want to be the general manager or the owner of the team. We got to get away from just wanting to be on the field. We got to say, we got to come off the field and go on to management and control the whole narrative.
But the only reason I asked that is when you start talking about narrative.
Right. You think something will come out about that team if the owner don't want it to happen?
Steph gonna do whatever you want to do, regardless of what the owner say. Steph controls the narrative.
So I would say like this.
No, Steph, the quarterback controls the narrative because they're the ones that everybody see.
Controls the headline.
That's the narrative.
Well, everybody sees the
let me put it like this. Let me put it like this. He is creating the narrative, but let me put it like this. The quarterback is creating narratives that can be chosen.
Mm-hmm.
But the owner is going to decide what's going to be put out there. You get what I'm saying? If he don't put it out there, he's going to make all kind of phone calls for something don't happen. Mm-hmm. Like say somebody they get in trouble, right? Let's put it like this. Quarterback get in trouble. The owner won't want it to get out there to the public because it's going to hurt his franchise. How do he control that narrative, but he can't control the other narrative? He controls the narrative. You get what I'm saying? Because there's certain things they're protecting him about. Oh, he made 4 touchdowns, right? The owner ain't gonna worry about that narrative. That a good narrative. Let it run. You get what I'm saying? But if other things come in, that's when you know you got the most power to step in and say, I don't like that narrative and pull it. And then you control it. But you can let things ride until you see things not go according to plan. And then you show how much power you got by issuing control. It's like children. We can't be saying earlier, people need to be trained like children. You let children play, right? Let them play until they get outside of what they're supposed to be doing. Then you got to show discipline. You got to put order back in this thing. It's the same thing with the owner. It's like, okay, we let y'all just play. The narrative just floating out there. But as soon as it need to be controlled, you see who the owner is then. But then everything get in control. That's how I see it.
So I see this narratives. I see this analogy like this. I think the ownership part, like that ownership would be, I guess, like how the government is. And we as the men should play the role more of the coaches. And then we will allow the women just simply to be the players.
I see it a little different. I would see the government as the owner, us as the GMs, and the women as the coaches, and our children as the players. That's how I put it. And we're gonna look at it from that standpoint of hierarchies and ladders. Like, okay, we know we live in the United States, the government. Boom, they control this whole narrative. We don't got no control. That's what we fight about now. Y'all don't run nothing. Well, the government runs all that. But they ain't saying that you can't be managers of this world and managers and leaders too. No, right? In the higher class.
Women and children.
Huh?
The players are the women and the children.
The women and the children?
Both of them. The two women. Offense and defense.
Yeah.
It's the women and the children. They're the women and the children.
I ain't mad about that at all. But that's how I see it.
I don't see the men as the GMs. It's only
I
the
don't need.
GM.
I don't either.
I
That's
don't
why. I was like, I wouldn't want
What do you
to.
mean?
because the women now you saying that the men have to be the coaches because they run the plays.
That's why.
GM,
That's why I said
the
that.
GMs don't run no plays. The owners don't run no plays. The men, the coaches run the plays.
Yeah, that's
All
why.
right, let's put it like this. All
And
right,
the players can influence the narrative of the team.
Which are your women and your children.
All right, let me put it like this.
If Antonio Brown, I'm sorry, who controls the narrative of Antonio Brown? Him or the GMs?
All right. He did, but he realized he didn't. That's why he ain't on no team. You see, you thought you were going to do what you want to do and say your narrative only, and you're going to control this. And the coaches told you, I run this. Guess what? You're not even going to play in the NFL. Even when you want to play and control the narrative, we're not going to give you no playing time. Matter of fact, when he was doing his little thing, you got to remember, he was out for how many weeks and coming back every once in a while? Because the GM control that. If you don't want to listen, I give you lack of playing time. I give you lack of spotlight. So I'm going to control your narrative. So you can't have a narrative if I don't let you on the field to play. If you can't play, what narrative you gonna have? You ain't out there, right?
Well, he not out there, but he still controls the narrative of the teams that he was on. Regardless of how much what they did with him, they still talk about him. He gone. He changed the entire look of the teams he was on.
Exactly, and now look where he at. No football. You try. Look. This
so that would be like the women. You did what you wanted to do, and look at you, no husband.
You're gonna get consequences. And then they gotta face the consequences. They think they changed the narrative or something until you get kicked off the team. And then you cry, I want to play football. All I want to do is play football. You cry, I want to play football. You go bag another owner, I want to play football. Why you can't go play football? Because you don't control nothing. You got to beg somebody else to play the game. You get what I'm saying? You got to beg somebody else to play the game. You thought you running
now. I guess control might be too strong of a word I'm using on my analogy, because influence your narrative, I would use that.
Okay.
Because you can't tell me that just because you not with that woman, she don't still influence your narrative.
I get that. I get the influence narrative part all the way.
So
I can agree with that.
That was pretty much where I was coming at.
Yeah, you can influence the narrative, but at the end of the day, just because you influence something, don't mean you're going to be that result.
But there's only she can still control it if you allow her to.
I understand that. Anything can be controlled that is allowed.
If she say you ain't shit nigga and you just let that shit ride for the rest of your life, then that's what you are.
Yeah, but because that is
she
what it is.
Your negative.
Yeah, that is what it is. Like, you gave up your control. You gave up that. So it's like you're gonna expect that not to apply since you gave it up. Like, if something don't apply, you make sure it don't apply. That's how I see about it. Yeah, but if you ain't about nothing, then you ain't about nothing. And you let her paint that picture of you, then obviously you ain't about nothing and you agree. Remember, no answer is an answer.
Mm-hmm.
So I tell the guy, somebody said something about you and they put this out about your character. And he said, I choose not to respond. Well, you know that other response that is out about you stands until it's combated?
It stands even if you combat it. Because the narrative, a narration is literally controlled by the person who's doing the talking. So if you go to chat, if that woman says something crazy about you, and then you go to combat it back, but that bitch keep talking and keep talking and keep talking, she gonna keep controlling and keep controlling. You gonna sit there and fight this never-ending story of battling, but the narrative is controlled by the person who's talking, the narrator. So the person who talks is the person who's controlling it.
So we got to get the narrative back again. Then we back to that again.
But she would have to shut the fuck up, because as long as she's talking, she controls a portion of the narrative. You can't even take that from her.
And you can't control people. So at the end of the day,
exactly,
who controls the narrative?
She would have to shut the fuck up. Stop talking. That's the only way we control this narrative. Shut the fuck up. Let me talk. As long as she's talking, Nigga, this narrative is gonna be a battle. It's gonna be my side, her side, my side, mine, and whoever talking the most is gonna probably win. Because you probably get exhausted as the man and be like, you know what, I'm tired of arguing with this bitch and doing all this putting on in front of people. But guess what? Her childish ass got energy for days, nigga. She got plenty of energy. You wore out because you got stressed, you got your job and work, you tired. You ain't want to argue. But guess what this childish bitch got? She ready to turn up. She done had a bunch of candy and everything. She going in, selling all kind of narratives, all kind of spins. She still controls it.
She got a lot of pent up stuff, huh?
Tell her to shut the fuck up. You gotta control.
You know what I hate about that? I hate when this is one thing I will not do. I tell every woman that, especially got kids and want to talk to me. I don't care what your husband did to you or your baby father. If you come with me any of these expectations, I'm dropping you. I'm dropping you like a rock. Because I ain't did nothing to harm you, and I ain't doing nothing to fix what he did. You go to him for your fixing. Then he did it. You go to the what made you wrong. Don't come to me saying I'm supposed to fix it. I'm not. Yeah, I ain't did it. Yeah, I ain't doing it. And you ain't placing none of the blame that he did to you on me. If I see that, I'm cutting you too. I'm playing that. I don't understand how men, but people, period, because I see both sides do it.
Yeah, I'm about to say
they use their last relationships, expect a new relationship to cover and make up for all that other stuff, and then they put the blame on. Like, hold on, man, you ain't did none of that. You ain't gonna take none of that. And I tell guys, and men and women, you see a person using their last relationship, whether it's fears or whatever, all that stuff, leave them alone. They got healing to do. Let them go. Let them go heal. So you ain't healed yet, and let them go heal. No. Don't do that. Don't fall for that.
Yeah, people talk about healing all the time, but it ain't. It kind of goes into what I was going to talk about as far as, what is mental health.
They putting them things in the closet. They taking off. They ain't healing. They putting in the closet. They got skeletons in their closet.
Mm-hmm. And they're just suppressing it until it comes back up, until it gets triggered again, and then next thing you know, that person got to deal with it.
Mm-hmm. So they ain't dealt with it already. We talk about this a lot of times because you're the coach. Hey, y'all, make sure y'all check out Carrot's Perspective. I know I'm trying to get my boy to make sure he get everything so y'all can start getting y'all one-on-one coaching with him. He just taking his time right now, but he gonna get on that one-on-one coaching with y'all. But anyway, man, it's like you know what I mean, you got a coach. But it's like a lot of people need to seek coaches, therapists, you know what I mean, help. That's why I bring it up. It's like, ain't nothing wrong with it, man. And I don't see nothing wrong with it. I mean, people might see something wrong with it, but as far as me, you might. Hey,
if it's needed, it's needed, dog. If it's needed, it's needed.
My thing is,
I don't know. Kelsey is my coach, my therapist, right? Like, he's certified. He's mine. Like, and don't get me wrong, we got a reciprocal relationship. In return, I'm his financial guy, right? But it's like you need people to balance you out in areas that you're weak in. And going through a relationship that you had a toxicity or you coming from a hard time, you might be weak at the moment and you need help. Ain't nothing wrong with being tired and weak at times. And you get back right. You know what I mean?
Well, what made you get to that point? Because at one point, there's a lot of people who say, well, I ain't gonna never do that. And then it happened, or they might have, talked to somebody, or I got a coach, or got a therapist, or whatever, and then their perspective of it changed. So it's like, what made you change your perspective of it?
On therapy?
Yeah.
A woman named Kat. Woman named Kat thought more of me than she knew about me. And I was going through some things. And she just asked me, to go talk to somebody, right? This out of just being like, no, I don't need none of that. I'm talking to you. Why do you talk to a therapist for? I'm talking to you, Kat. You know what I mean? And turn around, she's like, that's cool. And I like talking to you, but I want to make sure the reason why you're talking for me, get an answer, get help for it. You know what I'm saying? And she's like, try it. You know, somebody asks you to try something that, want to see you do better. You just try it. And then I ain't gonna lie, after the first couple of sessions, though, at first I was like, nah. But after you have a little breakthrough moment of clarity, you see how beneficial it is. So it's like, just just going through it. Like my whole thing was going through it and seeing that nothing wrong with it, and everything that everybody else probably talk about by talking through your depressed or repressed issues, right?
Mhm.
That you don't think about, you don't realize how much let me put it this, you won't know how much you repressing these things until you bring them up and you got to handle them. So it's like just handling certain things and then your life changed. Let me put it like this. I was a very smart, intelligent financial guy in business, right? But until I handled my trauma, I didn't become successful. Like I was smart, had information and knowledge, but until I handled my past, which is my hurdles, I didn't become successful until I did that. That's when I got what I call slavery. That's when I started owning my time, my own life, financially. Everything started growing because I was handling things that I had issues with in my past. So I tell anybody, like, you won't know until you try, because I thought I was fine until I actually went through it, and then my life changed. And I tell anybody, look, do it. You don't know how much it's going to change your life. It might change it drastically. And just because you think you're so hard, you don't know how much you can change that will change your life.
I mean, people's approach on therapy and coaches and stuff like that is just it's something that they see as, I ain't gonna say unnecessary. They know they need it. I ain't gonna sit here and act like they don't know they need it. They know they need it 3:00 in the morning when they can't fall asleep. They know they need it. It's about seeing how it can become a part of a lifestyle. So it's like you pay to go to the gym, you go to church, you pay there, pay offering, you pay, and that's physical health. You pay for your spiritual health. Why not pay for your mental health? So it's just the approach to it of just how to see it. Like you already doing it. You go into your homeboy, homegirl, or whatever. You vent, and you think venting is going to work. Here's the thing that people feel as though they don't need coaches is because they feel like they got friends. People feel like they don't need therapy because they feel like they got friends and family and people they can just talk to. But those people are needed in your life, but they're still going to give you a biased opinion.
Hey, Kev, KJ, let me ask KJ something. What kind of coach would you actually call yourself? Because, like, we know KFC on a mental and relationship coach, but yours is a relationship, but yours, you more, because you're a coach too. You know what I'm saying? And you're routing how you attack different things. Like, how would you describe yours? Because yours more like it's more comfort. So people get going to the dojo, they get a little physicalness, but at the same time, you be throwing lessons out there. There's life lessons to them.
Yeah, I come from more of a spiritual placement when it comes to it, and that's not religion within like theology, but I come from a spiritual placement. There's a reason why I talk things of calmness and serenity and things of this nature. There's a reason why I'm not a person of believing in telling somebody how to live their life and what to do in your life. There's a reason why I always take those humble perspectives and say, no, this could be this or this could be that. Because one of the problems when we start taking these pressures and start putting them in these different places, you have people then trying to live up to something. And that's why I like when I hear people use the term illusion, because sometimes the thing that you choose to push for is the illusion in itself. Why don't you just be who you are and see where it lands you? Even my approach when it comes to relationship these days, I don't come in here telling this woman, I ain't telling women what to do. I done did it. I want a woman who loves to be here, and you either love to be here or we can just part ways. I'm not in the business of telling nobody how to do nothing. Even when I talk to my children, I believe in laying the whole plateau out. Oh, you want to do this? Let's talk probability. Let's talk the ratios of whether or not you're going to fail or succeed, and boom, 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 boom. You make the choice. I don't make choices for you. You make the choice. You fail, you come back and look at me. I'm like, yo, where did you go wrong? The same way when I teach martial arts. You thought this was going to work. Try it. It failed. Where did you go wrong? You got to understand that you have to make your choices. So you have to I'm going to put you in the driver's seat. I ain't going to chauffeur you around. I'm not opening no doors for you. I'm not doing none of this. I put people in the driver's seat to help them understand themselves. I think it's very critical for people to understand themselves. So I take a spiritual outlook of understanding your spirit, your inspiration and stuff of that nature. Because you have to be the driving source and you can't do it for anybody else. I want you to live within your own comfort. Don't try to be someone else. That's the problem with the world now. Everybody want to tell you how to live. People want to tell you what you got to do. You ain't a woman unless you do this. You ain't a man unless you do this. Nigga, you a man no matter how the fuck you choose to live your life. You might not be the type of man I want to hang out with, but you're still a man nonetheless, and you should be respected and treated as such. The same way with women. We do have the choice to be around people and disregard people. So we need to learn how to accept people more, but just say, yo, okay, I can respect this man. I think you're a little crazy. I just ain't gonna fuck with him, but I can respect him in totality. So I just push from that realm of you have to understand who you are from a spiritual standpoint of what drives you. And when I say spirit, I'm talking literally about that inner force that drives you. That's literally what I'm talking about. So that's just what I push. I push for you to be the best of you. So even when we talking about the mental health, I think if it's needed, then it's needed. But I always ask the question, how do the retarded know they're retarded? Because we talking about if you get a retarded person, he hang around a bunch of retarded people, their normality is that. If we put them on a bus, everybody on the bus licking the windows or banging their head on the window, the nigga who's sitting there looking forward, the guy who's so-called normal, is actually weird. He ain't drooling out his mouth. He ain't got no helmet. What the fuck wrong with him? Sitting all upright, all focused and shit. Something's wrong with him. To them, it's all perspective. So when we learn in life, everything is perspective-based, then you need to learn how to build and move off your own perspective and not that and those of other people. So I just focus.
Yeah, reason I say about coaches and helping is because I believe that everybody should have coaches. I think that the lack of a coach, I wouldn't say lead to your failure, but it don't increase the high ability of success. I think a coach increases the probability of success. You know what I'm saying? Like in one of my business now that I'm about to help build out more, like because I got a coach in that area, you know what I mean? Like the success is highly likely. You know what I mean? In a specific way. And I come from I got 3 coaches in this area that can guide me, mentorship. And I just think that everybody needs coaches. The reason I say it, because like me, I'm a business coach. Kevin is a life coach. Well, KJ is a life coach. And Cassie is a life coach. Like we 3 coaches. I mean, we live in different realms. One is more physical and mental discipline. One is more emotional,
relational.
In relational discipline, and mine is business and financial discipline. Right. And that's why we link up so good. Not to anybody. If y'all want to get into any of these disciplines, make sure y'all hit us up at vokalvizions@gmail.com. Make sure y'all hit us on the email and let us know what you need focus on, and we can talk about and display. But yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing. I'll bring it up because we all need coaches in life, and a lot of people think that we just run around this life with a muck and just opinions, and then we not validating our opinions or our outlooks, so we can have better success rates. Whether or not it's relationships, whether or not it's businesses, you know what I mean? Like that's why we talk about all this stuff.
Yeah, I try to tell people to choose their heart, man. It's like, or choose their pain. It's like, sometimes people will say, well, I don't really want to go to a therapist. I don't really want to talk about stuff because it's so painful. And it's like, well, it's going to be painful when it comes back up too. So which pain do you want to have? Do you want to have the pain of the healing? Do you want the wound to heal, the pain of that? Or do you want the pain of it always being touched? Which pain do you want?
Yeah,
so
you're going to deal with it regardless.
You're going to deal with it regardless. So you might as well deal with it in a way that benefits your life.
Exactly. That's the thing. Like when I was listening to some people, it's hard for people to talk about it. Like I watched one lady say the other day, I was watching on Meet David, I think that was, or something like that. Can't remember what his actual show is. But and she was talking about how she could have talked to somebody else about her pain and it felt like a release, right? But talk to somebody else, it felt like something else. And my whole thing is, that's what a coach and a therapist and all that is. They help you release things. It shouldn't bring on turmoil, just help you get over, be able to jump that hurdle and make it to the next move. It's like you want to know how to
it has
to be
it has to be the right fit too. Like,
Yeah.
just because you deem yourself under this doesn't mean that you're right for that person's situation. So sometimes
Exactly.
people might go under the concept of the therapist or the coach, but you can't actually apply more damage than good because you're not suited. So I can understand if a person was to say talking to somebody, it may feel therapeutic, but then talking to somebody else, this might feel like shit. Like we about to like this is crazy. Like we causing more problems than anything else. I can definitely see it, but because a lot of times when people take titles, they try to then make and force certain things. And I think a lot of times it has to be a lot more organic. Like, I wouldn't say everyone actually has to have the coach. Sometimes people just need people to just listen to, like as far as a therapist. Because I don't think a therapist and a coach are exactly the same. I think they're
They're
totally
not the
different.
same. They
They're totally
completely
different. Like
they're
a
completely
coach
different.
and a therapist, some people might need a therapist, some people might need a coach.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's the role of the coach to determine that.
Yeah, that's why
Yeah.
the role of the coach to say, hey, you need further guidance. It's like me.
Yeah.
I do the business stuff, right? And I help them with a lot of things. But certain things I say, hey, you know, we want to go talk to this financial advisor over here. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I probably can issue this part, but I want to separate myself from the situation and make sure you talk to this financial advisor, even though I might be advising you on all your business stuff. You know what I mean? Like, oh no, we need to go talk to this guy to get more accurate, detailed information. So yeah, a therapist is definitely more detailed than a coach. But the thing is, the coach is more right.
It takes a level of due diligence to try to find the right fit for you. And a lot of people won't. You can understand it because if you're really stressed, if you're really in a certain level of pain or whatever the case is, you're not going to have the energy to have that due diligence sometimes.
And I think that's probably the problem. It's like finding that fit, and you can't find it in time, and people just let it go, right? They just never mind it. But my whole thing
they
is,
more so look for a reference.
They might never mind it, and I understand that standpoint. But I would still tell people, if you can fight through that difficultness of doing your due diligence to find the right person for you, find it. You know what I mean? It'll push you a long way. It might be a little difficult at first, but I tell a person just try. You know what I mean? Like the first two people you meet might not be the people for you. The third person might not be, but when you find the right fit, like KJ always says, only take one chance. You only got to get it right once. And once you get it right, you get it right. Right? And then it helps your life. So it's like, yeah, it might be a little difficult, but you get it right.
Don't be discouraged by failed attempts.
Yeah.
That's the epitome of what I do. Don't be discouraged by failed attempts, dog.
Well, then again, I gotta change my perspective on that just a little bit because people do their due diligence just with the wrong people in the wrong aspect. Like you're not doing your due diligence to find a therapist, but you're doing your due diligence and finding somebody to trauma bond with, or somebody to sleep with, or somebody to release your distractions with. Like it's the way that you actually putting your energy into. So you're meeting 3 new people, but the 3 new people do you no good. So you might as well meet 3 new people who might actually want to help you as opposed to wanting to distract you or can make your situation worse by putting you in a bad situation or whatever the case is. So I've seen women who, they've met new people, then ended up pregnant, ended up in abusive relationship, they ended up in all types of stuff when they could have spent that same energy in a different lane of who they choose to build a relationship or try to find to help her. It depends on what lane you go in. Depending on what energy you put that due diligence into.
Mm-hmm. True.
Yeah,
I agree.
Fellas, what else y'all want to bring up tonight with the people?
That's all I got, man. That's all I got.
How about you, KJ?
Nah, that was a real good bill. There's a lot of jewels.
Yeah. So we'd like to tell everybody, hey, keep tuning into the Vocal Vision Network where we're expressing what it seems to accomplish a dream. Y'all know we got the Humble Beginning shows, the mostly be on Wednesdays and what else? I mean Mondays and what else, KJ?
I wouldn't get so set on the Mondays and the Thursdays because I now know exactly how I'm going to do my second show. So I'm gonna make a shift. So I'm gonna come with something more hardcore now. Let you know exactly now. So now that I know exactly the route that I'm taking, you're only gonna get one of the panel discussions a week, and then you're gonna get my other show on the other day. So don't get
so
settled.
Yeah. So we get more organized on making sure we understand when we can present these shows to y'all, so y'all also can put these things onto y'all schedules and have a more accurate time. And I'm saying, you know, if I want to block out a piece of time to tune into one of our shows, this is when it is. Kevin Perspective, you know what I mean? We don't have really a show for that, but we have video clips and knowledge to be dropping on. And Kevin, let them know like how you deliver that message out randomly, you know?
I mean, I'm all, you know, I'm kind of all over the place. You know, I've been on Instagram a lot more lately, but Kevin's Perspective, there's videos that drop every week, usually every Wednesday and Friday. Next week is going to be a busy week because we got some shows lined up. I got a couple interviews lined up. I got a couple guests that's going to be on the show. I want to know what their perspectives are on certain things. So we're going to get Kevin's perspective is going to get a woman's perspective on a lot of different topics. So next week is going to be a productive week. So look out for that. But every week, YouTube, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to all the channels. You know, and we just gonna keep talking. I'm gonna give my perspective. I'm gonna get down to the nitty gritty. You already know.
Exactly. As far as me, you know, we're gonna kick off the gray area tomorrow. I'm gonna have my we're gonna start off with the battle of the sexes as far as the gray area. We're gonna do that with Caprice. We talk about hypergamy a little bit. That should be at 9:00. We're gonna still go live. I usually like to do pre-recordings, but you know what? Some people like to do things different, so we're gonna go live on this one. So y'all make sure y'all tap into the gray area tomorrow at 9:00. You're gonna see the battle of the sexes on the gray area. And y'all make sure y'all stay in tune with the Vocal Visions Network. Y'all know where to hit us at. I done gave it to y'all plenty of time. So make sure y'all go to vocalvisions@gmail.com if y'all need to get in contact with us. That is VOKALVIZIONS. VOKALVIZIONS@gmail.com. We do have a number to give y'all, but I'm holding off on the numbers right now because we are very busy. And for us to answer phone calls would be a little difficult, so emails would be better for us. But hey, reach out to us. Become a visionaire. Join the family. We got more things coming to you. I got something to say. You got something to say. We all got something to say. What's that, KJ?
Wait a minute. Let me give a couple shout-outs, too. Shout out to the Love Is podcast. I was on that Sunday night. My boy, Willie Bradley, him and his wife, we had a nice, decent conversation. Also, I want to shout out to the Woke Juice podcast. I had them on my podcast last night. For y'all who don't know, Smokey the Bear and Mr. Doctor from the Woke Juice podcast. I'm not going to do a show Thursday because I'm planning on linking up and do a couple tours and show my faces in a couple other places. So we moving around a little bit. So that's why I'm only giving one show this week. But then shout out to these groups, man. Shout out to the Love Is podcast. Shout out to the Woke Juice podcast. I'm getting the opportunity to build with a lot of them. But I will resume next week. We're going to be talking about poor representation on the next joint. So, yeah. Other than that, man, that's all I have to say.
Word. So everybody know, this is the Vocal Visions Network. I'm Deuce 47. That's my boy KJ. That's my boy KFC. We are brothers from another mother, and we will always connected. Come join the family because we are all family and become a visionaire. So you know what the motto is: express what is seen to accomplish a dream. So hey, if y'all want to tap in. I got something to say. You got something to say. We all got something to say. So let's keep on saying it. And we'll check y'all out later.
If I don't spark the mind, I'm not living motivation. If you live it or you make it, I can take it that you're faking. I'll call you bluff, I'll point you out, I can get so blatant.